In 1974, I lived in New York City, and I worked at Columbia University's press office, also known as the Office of Public Information. I was a messenger, typist, file clerk by day, and at night, I sang Gilbert and Sullivan operettas in a church downtown. I lived with my aunt, a doctoral student at Columbia's Teachers College. She had friends in the visitor's office at Columbia, who in turn had connections in the public information office, so she was able to get me a job. Public information is an exciting place to work. The office is a liaison between Columbia University and the media. It also announces the Pulitzer Prizes every spring. And once in a while, we got to tell the world about a brand new Nobel laureate. Unfortunately, not all of its news is good news. One morning during the second week of November, on a cold, gray day, there was an accident on the East River involving several members of Columbia's rowing crew. A shell tipped over in the icy waters at dawn, and one of the oarsmen drowned. Our office was alerted. Fred, the director of public information, wrote a statement that he read later that morning at a press conference. Marianne, the office secretary, and I were to read the same statement and say nothing else to any reporters who called on the phone. The statement ended with this: "The name of the victim is being withheld, pending notification of next of kin." The name of the victim is being withheld. The name of the victim is... He read it so often to so many people that morning, the words stopped meaning anything to me. Around noon, Marianne went to lunch, leaving me to handle the phones. Every reporter who called wanted something extra, some little scandalous or horrifying detail that nobody else had, so that he or she could scoop the others. They bugged me for more information until I finally hung up on them, sometimes in mid-sentence. After a lull, I got a weird call. It was a man who didn't bother identifying himself or his press affiliation. He spoke in a very quiet voice and said, "Tell me the name of the boy who died." Well, as it happened, everyone in our office knew the boy's name. That wasn't usual. We found out because Larry, one of our student aides, was a rower. And at first we were afraid he'd been the one who drowned. Marianne got the name out of Fred and then proceeded to tell everybody in the office. Fred was furious. He called us all in and told us our lives would be worthless if we revealed the name to anyone before the family was notified. The man on the phone was waiting for an answer. Something about the quiet, intense way he spoke caused me to hesitate before I launched into the statement. But then I did, and I said, "The name of the victim is being withheld pending notification." He cut me off. In that same quiet voice, he said, "My son is a rower. He was out on the river this morning. I'm begging you to tell me if he's dead." I was suddenly shivering. This was not a call I had expected. I stuttered out something about putting him on hold while I went to get my boss, but he exploded. "Don't put me on hold. Not again. I've called his dorm, the rowing office, even the president's office. For God's sake, they all put me on hold." The sports information office transferred me to you. You do know his name, don't you? My silence assured him that I did. When I spoke, I stopped sounding like an adult in an office and started whining at him like a little kid. "I can't tell you. I'll get in trouble. Please let me get my boss." But he knew what to say. "Listen, I know you don't want to disobey your boss, so I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll just say my son's name, and you say yes or no. That way you won't really be telling. Just yes or no. Please." I could hear someone else drawing a shaky breath on an extension. A woman, I thought. And then I understood. I was maybe about to tell a mother and father their son was never coming home again. I was 23 years old, and this was the biggest moment of my whole life. The press release I'd been so bored with all morning had become real. A real boy died, and real parents didn't know yet. I should have put down the phone and gone to get Fred. I just couldn't leave him there alone on my desk. So instead I whispered, "What's his name?" The mother said it first. The father echoed a beat behind. When I heard it, I jumped up and shouted, "No, no, it wasn't him. I was high on adrenaline and relief. It wasn't your son." Fred came to his office door and put a disapproving finger to his lips, but I barely noticed him. I was listening to the dad choking out, "Thank you," as he began to cry. His mother said, "We'll pray for the parents who don't know yet." After I hung up, my adrenaline deserted me, and I stood on shaky legs, waiting for the powers of speech and movement to return. And when they did, I went into Fred's office, meaning to tell him I wasn't going to answer the phone anymore that day. But he spoke first and said the boy's parents had been notified. The name was being released to the press. We'd be getting a new statement to read soon. So I went back to my desk, sat down, and picked up the phone because it was ringing. Thank you.